Hey YouTube, what is up? This is going to be a little bit of a long video, so I just want you to know what you're signing up for. If you're not into it, get the fuck out. What's been going on with you? How are you doing? Let me know in the comments below. I know there's only like two of you, so let me know how your day is going. I hope it's doing well, and if not, I don't know. I hope you get laid soon. I hope something good happens to you. I hope you get to eat some candy soon or something. I wanted to tell you guys a story because lately I've been doing something. I've been working on a project for the last 6 months, and I wanted to share it with you. But before we get into photos of that, we have to go back a little bit to where the story actually begins. As most of you probably know by now, and if you don't, surprise, I play the guitar. I also play piano and drums and obviously bass guitar and a couple other instruments. I actually have a saxophone and I've been trying to learn that. It's a little hard and I don't practice as much as I should. But my point is that I like playing music. For me, I don't think instruments are like they are for most people. I think when a lot of people want to learn an instrument, especially young people like 14, 15 years old, even younger really, when these kids want to learn how to play guitar, they usually think of getting in their own band. It's always like, oh, me and my friends are going to like start a band, like, oh, I want to learn how to play guitar and stuff like that. And that's awesome. I think kids who want to learn how to play instruments and learn to write their own music and aspire to become songwriters and instrument players, I think that's a great thing. I think music really helps people and it's just a great medium. That was never me. I never aspired to be a songwriter or write my own music. What I wanted to do, the reason why I wanted to get into guitar was I wanted to play along with some of my favorite songs, and I still do. That's just what I do. That's why I play the guitar and the drums. I don't now when I have an acoustic, sometimes I'll play some chords and I'll just make up some words and stuff, but I don't really sit and write songs. That's not what I like. What makes me feel good and centers me out and just how like my version of meditation, if you will, is just putting on a good track that I learned how to play the guitar to, and just playing, just I don't know what that this is what I'm doing. It's just playing along with it, and that makes me feel good. It kind of makes me feel like I'm playing the song, and I mean in a way I am, but it just that's why I play music. That's what I'm about. So when I was 14 years old, maybe 13, I don't really remember, but like most kids, I started to get into guitar. I started playing bass first in the school band, and eventually I moved up to guitar, and I asked my parents if they could buy me a guitar because I wanted to learn how to play. And I forget, it was for my birthday or it was for Christmas or something like that. I got it as a gift, and my dad got it for me. Really, both my parents got it for me, but my dad actually paid for it. So, but you know how parents are. It wasn't a traditional gift in the sense that I came downstairs and there was a package and I opened it and it was just a guitar. That's not how it went down. What actually happened was my parents said, okay, we're going to buy you a guitar. And that is going to be a present, and we're going to go to the music store together and you can pick it out. Obviously, I didn't have free range. I wasn't allowed to get a $1,500 Gibson Les Paul or something like that, but well, $1,500 is a little cheap for Gibson Les Pauls these days, but I could, nothing that expensive, within the few $100 range, something like that. So I went, and at the time I was so young, and I didn't play guitar, and I didn't have the resources. You understand, when I was that age, YouTube didn't exist. There was, God, my age is showing so hard, but YouTube wasn't around. They didn't. Well, if they were around, it was definitely the first year of YouTube, and there just wasn't anything there, and not to mention computers weren't so mainstream that every single person had one. I mean, they were still pretty expensive, and I had one, but I mean, The idea of going online and looking at stuff just wasn't a thing at that time. So I was a super young tween getting into the guitar, and my only requirement for my first guitar was not that it had to sound good, not that it had to be a certain weight, not that it had to be made of a certain material. None of those things mattered. All I wanted was the coolest looking thing that was on the wall. You gotta understand, and I feel like this is with most people, whatever you thought was cool when you were 13, 14 years old is not what you think is cool right now. So don't judge me too hard. This was about 10 years ago. So my taste has varied a little bit since then. But yeah, I just wanted something wicked cool, really unique, something tough. So I'm walking around the store and I see stuff. I see Fender Strats, Squires. I mean, that was what was in my price range. Stuff like that. I saw like Les Paul type guitars, like SG type guitars. By the way, if you don't know what I'm talking about when I say that stuff, just Google it. Just Google Les Paul and stuff, and you'll be like, oh yeah, yeah. I saw those type of guitars. They all look pretty. Common sense would say, Joe, if you want something cool, get something with a wicked paint job, because you could get a Squire Strat, but you could get it in metallic purple. Like, that would be cool. But that is not the choice that I made. No, I was walking and I looked up on the wall and I saw it. There it was. What was it? Good question. It was a metallic blue. I do not know the official color name. I would like to find out at some point. If anybody knows, let me know. It was a metallic blue BC Rich Warlock. I know, probably not the best decision that I've ever made. Definitely not a bad guitar. Not good for my first guitar. And then I would later find out that I just didn't like it at all. And we are over 7 minutes into this video, and let me tell you, my friends, the story has just begun. So my parents buy this thing for me, right? And I get it home and I'm playing it and I learn how to play stuff on it. And don't get me wrong, I love it. It just, after playing it for maybe 6 months to a year, something like that, I notice things about it that I never noticed right away, that you can't really notice right away. You can only notice when you get the feel for playing these instruments. But one, seeing as I was so young, it was too heavy. It's not too heavy for me now. It wouldn't be, but it was too heavy for me back then as a youngster. It was heavy. The neck was fat. The tremolo, I hate tremolo bridges. I don't know why. I just don't like them. And this one definitely has one. And so it was things about it that I didn't like. It was shaped weird, which visually I enjoyed, but practically it was super hard to put on a stand or set down anywhere, or you know what I mean? It's just weird. So I meet this guy that goes to my school. He was older than me. He's a lot older than me. He was a senior when I was a freshman. So I was a freshman, and I meet him, and he mentions that he plays guitar, and he has a couple buddies that play instruments. So I said, okay, do you want to hang out sometime and jam? Like I said before, not really into being in a band, but I'll jam. You know what I mean? I'll do that. So we jam, we hook up, we jam, we have a good time. And, as we play, he shows me his guitar, which is an ESP LTD model F50. And it's an okay guitar, and I liked it so much more than mine because it had things that I liked. Like, for example, it was thinner, it was smaller, it was a lot lighter, it was shaped cool. I just like the looks of it. It played better in my opinion, and it did not have that tremolo bridge. It had a fixed bridge, and I super loved that. At the time, I didn't think about monetary value, nor did I really respect it because I was so young. I mean, So I said to him, I said, and he talked about how much he loved my guitar so much, and why wouldn't he? I mean, he was all the things that I wouldn't. He was a senior. He was a senior. He was bigger. He could play it better. He could play it. It was better for him than it was for me. So I said, hey, do you want to trade guitars? Now, some of you watching this might be wanting to shoot me in the face right now. Believe me, I want to do that to myself. That was a dumb move, stupid thing to do. But, 14 years old. What are you going to do? And he said yes, of course. Why wouldn't he? Duh. He said yes, so we did. We traded, and I didn't feel bad about it afterwards. I played the other guitar. I liked it better, and I just didn't have any issues with that. Now, some of you might be wondering, what did my parents say about that? They didn't know. How do I hide that from my parents? Not really hard. I kept the guitar in the case all the time, so I don't think they ever noticed that it was a different guitar. And two, I would always play in my room, and they never came into my room. So I just don't think they ever paid attention enough to notice that it was gone, and I got another one. So that was it. That was the story of my first guitar, the beginning, the very short middle, and the end, and the beginning of my second guitar. That was 10 years ago. I'm assuming that I was 14 or 15 at the time that I traded it. So if you just want to make it even and say 15, I'm going to be 26 in October. So 10 years ago, just about 11 years ago. That was that. And ever since then, I have thought about it. Maybe not immediately, because I've had a lot of different guitars. I mean, I've probably gone through 20 different guitars, just buying and selling and playing and here and there and stuff like that. And I would always think about my first guitar. I mean, why not? It's your first one. You always remember your first one. No dirty jokes, gentlemen. But ow, my arm just cracked. But yeah, so your first one, and I didn't think about it maybe for the first 3 or 4 years. It was whatever to me. And him and I lost touch, obviously, because once I don't want to say the band broke up, but once we stopped playing together, we stopped talking, and we weren't Facebook friends or anything, so we just lost touch, I don't know. Then in 2008, Dad died, and we really didn't have anything to, we had all his tools and stuff. We had his stuff, but I didn't really have anything to, I don't want to say remember him by, but I don't know. I don't know the right words to use. I guess I'll just say remember him by, because it's like the first thing that comes to mind, but that's not exactly what I feel when I want to describe it. And I was thinking about this guitar that I traded away, and how not only does it have the sentimental value of being my first guitar, but it was from my dad, or both my parents, as my mom would tell you. But I just felt terrible that he spent this money on me and gave me this gesture of love and affection or whatever, and I just traded it away like it wasn't a big deal. And I, I hate the fact that I did that or whatever, but so, you know, it, fast forward to like a year after he died, which was 5 years ago or so, and I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to find this dude that I sold or that I traded the guitar to, and I'm going to see if he'll let me buy it back from him because I want it back. I want my guitar back, and I can't. It was weird because even though it was just a guitar, I guess it felt in a lot of ways like it was my dad. Is that weird? I don't want to get too gushy on you guys, but it just I don't know. I felt like if I could get the guitar back, I could have part of him back and I would just feel better. I don't know. Human emotions are strange. So I went on Facebook and I typed his name in and he came right up. He wasn't hard to find. We went to the same school. Even though he was older than me, we had a few mutual friends. We run sort of in the same circles. So his name came right up, wasn't hard to find. And I sent him a message and I was like, hey man, you remember this guy? And he said, yeah, of course, fucking. So I was just like, hey man, listen, would you be interested in selling that guitar back to me? At the time, I had a couple guitars that were worth about the same money wise, and they didn't really mean anything to me because I just bought them because I liked them. And I said, listen, if you want to trade again, I'll trade you a guitar that I have that's worth about the same, and that doesn't mean anything to me sentimental wise. I just want that guitar back. And he said no. Basically, he just said no, and it was disappointing. But what can you do? I mean, it was his. I can't force him to give it back to me or sell it back to me. So I was just like, okay, well, if you ever decide that you don't want it or you need some money or whatever, please come to me. Don't take it to a pawn shop. Don't take it to a music shop. Don't sell it online. Come back to me and give it to me. I was actually pretty impressed that he still had it. But I mean, it was only been like 5 years or 6 years or something like that since he got it. So, but he said that he really liked it and that was his main player and that's what he played and he just didn't want to get rid of it. So I said, okay, fine. I can't force you or whatever. Let it go. Say another year goes by of me not speaking to him. And I messaged him again, and I was like, "Hey, man, you wanna sell that guitar yet?" And he said no. And basically, I would ask him every year or like every 6 months, like every once in a while, I would just pop my head in and be like, "Hey, you still got that guitar? You wanna maybe pass it over to old Joe or whatever? You still got it?" I was just bothering him about it. So it was like that for like 5 years. And we didn't talk about anything except that guitar when I would message him. So earlier this year, February or March. Oh boy. Edit that out. I'm not going to. February or March, I did it again. I did what I do. It was about time. So I hit him up, hit him a message, and I was like, yo, man, it's me again. And I didn't straight up ask him if he would sell it to me. I basically just asked him how it was doing. I said, how's the guitar doing? Like, how, are you still playing it? Are you still, stuff like that? And he said, well, no. And I said, oh yeah. And he said that it actually was not working at the moment. He said one of the pickups started to go bad, so you could play it, but it sounds like shit when you play it. So he has not been playing it. And apparently, he said that he hasn't been playing it for about 2 years. 2 fucking years. He hasn't been playing it. And it's been broken for 2 fucking years. And 2 fucking years. Like that. So, anyway, and it's just been sitting in his room for 2 years. He has 2 other guitars that he plays constantly. And he said he doesn't even play that guitar anymore. And I'm like, wow, that would have been great information 2 fucking years ago when I asked you the same question. But I guess 2 years ago he didn't want to get rid of it. So I said, well, what is exactly wrong with it? And he gave me a laundry list of things. So I said, oh boy. I said, well, are you going to get it fixed or whatever? And he said, yeah, my buddy actually has it right now over at his house, and he fixes guitars. And he was going to fix it. He's holding it for me, but money's really tight right now. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to afford to get it fixed, because he had just moved, because he lost the place that he was living in at the time, and he had to move somewhere else. And he's starting this new job, and just money is really, really thin right now for him. So he said, I might not be able to afford to get it fixed, and I don't know what I'm going to do. And I said, how much money do you need? So, his answer was exactly what I wanted it to be, was any little bit will help. So I said, listen, let me make a little proposition for you. I said, you don't even play the guitar. It doesn't work. It needs to be repaired. It needs new electronics. It needs stuff. And you don't have the money to sink into it to fix it. So I said, let me pay you some money for it and take it from you in its current condition. You don't have to pay any money for it. You don't play it anyway. And get a little bit of that change in your pocket so you can maybe spend it on something else, like maybe for your other guitars that you actually do play or something like that. And he said, well, how much would you pay? Now, this is when I got super excited, because now it went from no, I will not sell this to you, to how much are you willing to pay? So we're talking money, got my foot in the door. I'm losing my mind because I'm so happy right now. And I said, well, listen, it is broken. I said, it couldn't be too much because I'm paying for a used, non-working guitar. Said, brand new. They're like $250 now you can get them for. And yours is used and it doesn't work. So I can't give you a whole lot of money. And he was like, well, is she worth $100 to you? And I said, well, I don't know. That's what I said. In my mind, I was freaking out, and I have $100. So I said, I'll tell you what. You still have the original case for it? And he said, yeah, I still got the hard case. I said, I'll tell you what. I will buy it from you for $100. And he said, he was very unsure. He said, he still liked it. I know he really liked it, but I don't care. This was my guitar, and I think it always has been, regardless of what anyone says. So I said, I'll tell you what, I'll give you $100 for it. Let me come get it. You don't even have to bring it to me. I'll drive to your place because he lives about 20 miles away. So it's not very close, but it's not too far either. And I said, I'll come up there and get it, bitch. I'll do it. So he said, all right, let me get it from my friend. And, I'll let you know when I have it. So he did. And about 4 days later, I drove to his house at 2 o'clock in the morning. I texted him and let him know I was there. He came out with the case. I didn't even really look at the guitar because honestly, I didn't care. I don't care what condition that it's in. Whatever's wrong with it, I'll fix it. So I just opened up the case real quick, saw that it was physically there, closed it back up, gave him the $100, and I left. It's in my car. I cried on the way home. I'm not ashamed to admit that. I did. I cried on the way home because for the first time in 10 years, the one of a huge mistake that I made was rectified, and I gotta tell you, it felt really good. And yeah, so I was like texting my girlfriend, and I was like, oh my god, I got it, like freaking out. So I brought it home and I turned on the kitchen lights, and I was so excited to open it and just see my first guitar, see these memories, see this time that had gone by, see, I don't know. I don't know. I'm feeling it now. I'm going to start crying. Good Lord. I don't know what I was feeling. It was just pure joy, happiness, excitement, overwhelming, and a little bit of anxiety mixed in all at the same time. And I was like freaking out, and I was like shaking, and I was like crying a little bit. And I put it on the table, and I opened the case with all the lights on, so like I could get a full blast of this baby. And I opened the case, and it was sad. It was really, really sad. And I cried some more because first my tears were of joy and excitement. But then I had tears of sadness and, I don't know, shame, maybe? Because this guitar was neglected, to say the least, I think. It was, I don't think it was really anything to him that as much as it was to me, obviously. And he definitely treated it like just any old guitar, and it's not any old guitar. It's my guitar. It's the guitar that my dad got for me. It is so special to me. And yeah, so it was really really depressing and sad to see what it kind of condition that it was in. And you guys get to see what kind of condition it was in part 2. Don't worry though, because I'm gonna make part 2 immediately after I upload this. So if you're watching this and part 2 is not up yet, it will be in like an hour. Just chill and let it happen. But it should be up. So I'll put a link in the description when it's up so you can watch that and check that out because it's important. Because in part 2, I'm going to discuss what the guitar looked like, what kind of shape it was in, and I'm going to show photos and stuff and of me fixing it and making it better. I just finished actually the other day. I've been working on it for 5 months. And that is just, I have other stuff to do. I can't finish it all in 3 days. So I just finished it, and I'm really excited to show you guys. So please watch part 2, and I hope you stayed through this extremely long story, and I hope you're following with the intensity that I have for it. And yeah, I love you guys, and I'm getting emotional. Love you guys, and I will see you in part 2. Bye.